The father is her 19-year-old boyfriend. Did you marry a 5-year-old? Like, what is this? I'm just not like other girls. What the freak? Who requires a specific pet name? Creepy as f- Really not. I don't agree with that. It didn't sit right with me, but my husband, her stepdad, talked me into it. I feel like I need some vodka for this story. Thanks for giving birth to a baby. So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Layla, and today is a bad day because my ring light died. Yeah, my ring light I went to plug in, just randomly did not work, so I've had to improvise with our lighting situation. That's why I'm mentioning this in the first place, so if things look whack or crazy, I did my best. We're just gonna have to sit tight until another one arrives. If anything looks weird or different or overexposed or, you know, the reflections on my glasses is too much, I did my best. I did my best with what I have. Anyways, if you're new here and you're like, what's going on? What is this? Every last Friday of the month, I like to post AmItheA Hole stories. And if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what AmItheA Hole is a subreddit on Reddit. People can explain a situation and tell a story and ask the timeless question, am I the a-hole? And from there, people in the comments section will go, yes, no, maybe so, everybody sucks here, so on, and so forth. Now, my main go-to for really crazy toxic ones is actually this page on Instagram called Toxic Reddit. They're a page that curates some of the most toxic Reddit stories from across various subreddits, not just Am I the A-hole. And I also came across this other page on Instagram called Reddit.rabbit. They have not posted in about 8,000 years, but they had a couple of really good Reddit stories, so I was like, okay, we'll go with them for this video. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing today. This month just freaking flew by, so it's just been an insanely fast month. So everyone, I want you to cozy on up, get comfortable, grab your snacks. I got some Mike and Ike's. And without further ado, let's dive right in with our first post. Okay, so a lot of these are weird, so buckle up. Am I the a-hole for not siding with my husband after my daughter started giving him the silent treatment over a paternity test? Throw away so this isn't connected to my main account. My daughter, 16, is about 16 weeks pregnant. The father is her 19-year-old boyfriend, who she's been with for 2 years. Okay, just when I think it couldn't get any worse, it in fact did. I wasn't on board with the relationship at first because of the age gap. She was just turning 14, he was already 17. It didn't sit right with me, but my husband, her stepdad, talked me into it. He's been friends with the boyfriend's family forever and kept saying how he was a respectful kid from a good home and that we'd just be stirring up unnecessary problems if we got in the way. Or, you know, you'd be doing your job as, like, a parent, you know, like, the whole thing. I let it go, but I'm starting to really regret that now. So a couple months ago, she comes to us and says she's pregnant. I was shocked, yeah, but I tried to stay calm. I told her we'd figure it out. My husband, though, immediately questioned if the baby was even the boyfriend's, didn't even hide it, just launched right into accusing her of lying. That would have been illegal, and my daughter's boyfriend is not stupid enough to risk that, and his parents raised him better than that. When I pressed my husband by asking about what if they really did have, he simply replied, even if they did do it, he knows that her boyfriend would have used a condom because he's responsible. I feel like I need some vodka for this story. My daughter obviously denied and cried doing so, but he wouldn't let up. Told her if she didn't agree to a paternity test, he wasn't going to support her at all. That turned into a massive fight between us. I said he was being cold and cruel. He said I was letting her manipulate me. We argued constantly for weeks. He kept acting like I was betraying him by not siding with him, but I was just trying to protect my kid. We had to wait until my daughter was further into her pregnancy until we could actually do the test, and it was a very dark time for my daughter. She completely shut down. Barely left her room, only seemed to eat for the baby, barely spoke. I caught her crying so many times, and once overheard her telling her boyfriend maybe she should give the baby up for adoption because no one believes in me anyway. That wrecked me. Meanwhile, I've been doing everything I can to show her I do believe her. I've been taking her to appointments, checking in on her constantly, just trying to be steady even when I don't have all the answers. I know I haven't been, but I've made sure she knows she's not alone. Her boyfriend and his family have been supportive the whole time. No drama, no accusations. Hold on, I need lip balm. They said if the baby's his, they'd help with everything, and the boyfriend made it clear he wanted to be involved and happily cooperated with the test. The test results finally came back, and yep, the baby's the boyfriend's. Just like she said from the beginning. Why would she lie about that? She didn't yell, didn't rub it in my husband's face, she just went quiet. And ever since, she's been completely distant with my husband. Bare minimum conversations, avoids him whenever she can. He says she's being disrespectful. I think she's just done trying. And then she asked me, actually begged me to let her stay with her dad, my ex, for a while. She was crying, saying she felt like she didn't belong in this house anymore and that she needed space. That one hurt, but I said yes. Her dad and his girlfriend have been amazing about it, honestly. They didn't hesitate. They told her she's always welcome, that they can help her however they can. They've gone out of their way to make her feel safe and wanted. I can't really be mad about her wanting to go over there right now. It's what she needs. Now my husband's mad at me. Says I'm letting her treat him like garbage and that I failed him as a partner by not backing him up. We got into it again. He said I've been undermining him for months. I told him that maybe if he hadn't treated her like a liar from day one, she wouldn't be shutting him out now. That he should try being a father instead of a prosecutor. He didn't like that. So now he's sulking, and I'm tired. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, I'm getting the sense he hasn't been her stepdad too long. He certainly doesn't sound like he treats her as his daughter. They got downvoted. He's been in her life since she was 8 or 9. And you let him manipulate you into an inappropriate relationship? Then you let him abuse her, and you're still with him? The actual... Does he ever do these types of things to her, not believing her, persecuting, not doing things because he's her stepdad? That sounds like behavior that is not new. Do you have any supports around you? If you divorce him, would you qualify for Medicaid? If you divorce him, could you move into your ex's space too? Long shot idea, lol. I really don't have much support around me. I moved hours away from everyone I know, mainly family, when I married him. It was really isolating at first. And if I leave, which I'm seriously thinking about, I don't want to just land on my ex and his girlfriend's doorstep. They've been great with our daughter, but I don't want to be a burden. I just don't know where I'd even go right now. Out of pure curiosity, how old are you and your husband? Not the a-hole, by the way. I got pregnant at 18, her dad and I split soon after, but we always tried to stay on good terms for her. I met my husband when I was 20 and he was 32. Back then, I really thought I was giving her something solid and safe. I'm 36 now and he's 48. No wonder you thought it was acceptable for a 17-year-old to date a 14-year-old. You were near dang groomed yourself. Whew. That's pretty crazy, not gonna lie. My honest take is that everybody sucks here. And here's why. So, it kind of sounds like the mother has pretty much no backbone and has kind of allowed this abusive entity to kind of control the narrative around her daughter. I just find the stepfather's defense of the boyfriend kind of odd, saying that he would never do something illegal, or he would be safe because he's responsible. And obviously, the kid's not his then. Like, even if you know someone's family and you know someone personally, you don't know what they're capable of. This whole situation is awful. The boyfriend, why do you want to date someone so young? Why do you want to sleep with someone so young? The stepfather, absolutely the a-hole. And the mother has zero backbone. Obviously, she has a bad history, so it seems like there's a family history of grooming or weird age gap relationships. And it's like, I get if that was kind of a normal thing for you, you might not realize, like, oh, that was actually really bad and not something I want my child to do. I just think it's a really messy situation, no matter how you look at it. I just hope that the daughter is getting the support she needs. I have no idea how old the story is. I do think everybody sucks here, except for the daughter. The mother is with someone who just sounds manipulative and mean and demeaning towards her daughter, towards his own stepdaughter. So why he was taking the teenage guy side so strongly, and it's also weird that he encouraged their relationship in the first place. I'm sorry, I have a thing with age gaps. There comes a point where you're old enough and it really doesn't matter. But if you're 14 and 17 and then you end up getting pregnant with this... How old is he? So she's 16 now and he's 19. So not only is their relationship technically illegal, I mean, I guess it depends on the state you're in, right? I don't know how any of that works, but it's also morally very questionable across the board. So yeah, my final verdict is everybody sucks here. I don't like anyone in the story except for the teenage daughter. I seriously hope she's getting the support and love she needs during this very difficult time. And I don't know how the story ends up, you know? Anyways, on to the next one. So this comes from our second account, Reddit.rabbit. Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend to edit the caption on his Instagram post? No way, for privacy. Last week, we were at his niece's birthday party. A few days later, he posted a picture of them with the caption, "My most precious princess." Sweet. For info, when we got together, I asked my boyfriend if he could call me princess, and for 3 years, he always exclusively did that. I told him that I had no problem with the superlative because his niece is literally the most cutest and precious. I asked him if he could change the word princess to girl or any other word he wanted. He said in case I forgot, his niece was literally wearing a princess costume, and that's why he chose that word. I don't think that my request is too much, because it's not like I asked him to delete the post or anything, but his reaction made me feel like an a-hole. You're the a-hole. Why are you trying to compete with his niece? You don't own the word. I'm also resisting the urge to throw up at you, asking him to call you princess. What the freak? Who requests a specific pet name? Creepy as f- Really not. I don't agree with that. I am not trying to compete with her. I also believe that she's the most cutest and precious girl. Whenever we visit his family, I try to spoil her as much as I can. I think this is more about the word than her. You're the a-hole for one of 3 reasons, though I can't tell which. You can't tell the difference between calling a romantic partner princess and other uses of the term, like the daughter of a monarch or a little girl dressed like one. Would you be upset if you were the only woman he called baby, and then you heard him refer to an infant as such as well? Words have different meanings in different contexts. If you were calling his supposedly platonic female friend his most precious princess, well, she was not dressed like one, then you'd have a case here, but you don't. You understand the difference, but you actually feel competitive with the child for your boyfriend's romantic affections, which is messed up. You understand the difference and don't feel competition, but you still want to enforce the literal letter of that agreement instead of the obvious intention and context out of some kind of pettiness or spite, or as a test for him to prove his love or seriousness or some game playing BS like that. That would for sure be an a-hole move! In the case of number 1, you might be the unintentional a-hole who needs some things explained. In number 2, something seriously sick is going on and some therapist is/are going to be required. But without any other info, you're still the a-hole. And in 3, and in number 3, which it sounds like this is, you're just a straight up hands down, very clear cut a-hole. That person really cooked her. So it really is, at the end of the day, hello, focus on me. I mean, I feel like princess is an extremely common pet name, so I don't really agree with people being like, that's weird, why would you have them call it that? Like, there's a lot of girls who want to be called that. Not me. I'm just not like other girls. But yeah, I gotta agree that it's one of those things that really shouldn't matter. Sometimes it feels kind of harsh to be like, you're the a-hole. But I do think in the described situation, you're taking things too far and would be classically defined as the a-hole. One of those things that really doesn't matter. It's a little girl, she's dressed in a princess costume. Just don't ever go to Disney with this man, because if you see princesses, your relationship ends there. And of all the things that matter in life, this is not one of them. So yeah, my verdict would be you are the a-hole simply because you made it weird. And you didn't have to. Anyways, on to the next one. Am I the a-hole for screaming at my husband for buying me flowers? The title sounds bad. I know, but please hear me out. Last week, my husband, 27 male, and I, 27 female, had a baby boy. My husband was away on business, and the baby came early. Only 2 weeks before the specified date, don't worry. It was important to me that he would be there for the birth. It was hard contacting him because he was out with his phone off with some work friends post-meeting. As soon as my sister-in-law, his twin, 27 female, was able to contact him, I was a few hours along. He made it there, but stopped by a nearby florist for some flowers while I was giving him his first child. He missed it! He was in a line and did not think to forget about the gesture and be with me, despite him knowing that it was what I wanted to have him by my side. He arrived while I was passing the placenta, but instead of even bringing me the flowers he went to such lengths to give me, he went to see his son while handing the flowers to sister-in-law to give to me. That's very cold, sir. That's cold! Apparently he wanted to wait until the grossness was done to go see me. Did you marry a 5-year-old? Like, what is this? He finally came to see me. I gave him an earful. His excuse was that it was tradition for the birth of a son in his family to get flowers for the lady as thanks. Thanks for giving birth to a baby. That only made me 10 times as livid. I asked him what was the tradition for daughters. He had no answer. I've tried talking about this, but this past week he has slept on the couch and only talked to me about baby things. I don't know what was wrong with my complaints. From his coldness, I might as well have killed his son as opposed to giving life to his son. Whoa. I made this post because I don't know anymore, and earlier today he told me that I screamed at him for basically getting me flowers. He told me that I was shaping up to be a fine, entitled parent. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Who travels for work within 2 weeks of their wife's due date? Due date is basically date plus or minus 2 weeks. You're considered full term from 38 to 42 weeks. Most people I've known don't travel after 36 weeks because really, if baby starts coming after that point, baby is being born when baby wants. But yes, more than that, it sounds like his intentions were actually to miss the birth without telling you that he was unwilling to be in the room. Not the a-hole. Your husband missed the birth on purpose. He confirmed it when he said he was going to wait until the grossness was done. No attentive father turns his phone off while out with friends when his wife is 2 weeks from her due date. He is sexist and regressive and not a good partner. I'm sorry that you're realizing this now that you have a baby together. Y'all are like, it's not mean to not want to be there, it is gross. So it's okay for his wife to suffer through childbirth alone, but he can't even be in the room while she does it? He doesn't have to look at it, he just has to be there and he didn't even do that! I agree. Yeah, I don't like the husband. He clearly revealed his intentions when he said he just wanted to skip the grossness or whatever BS that man was spewing. It's pretty obvious what he was doing. He didn't want to see the actual birth or be present for it. And so it seems like it was intentional that he was going to skip the whole thing. Flowers don't really matter, you know? Flowers are really not that important if your wife wants you in the room. Well, she's going through what is considered one of the most difficult things the human body can go through. I think your support in that moment would have meant way more than some flowers. But it was intentional, and it's obvious that was intentional, and you cannot change my mind. Say what you will. That really sucks for someone to be that uncaring during such a difficult time. Am I the a-hole for exposing my sister's lie to her boyfriend after promising I wouldn't? To preface this family is troubled. Sister mentioned is my stepsister. My sis and I are 25 female and barely a month apart. I know she likes to think we are extra close because of this and likes to call me her twin. I, on the other hand, don't think so. She has been dating this guy from France, we're German, for about 6 months now. He is from a rather picture-perfect and very rich family, and to be honest, I had strongly warned her about dating such a guy because I had a bad experience years prior. So I warned my sis, told her the story and what to watch out for because she takes heartbreak worse than I do. Last weekend, she brought him in for dinner. Tests in quarantine on my request. So I guess that kind of dates this post. And then in 2020. It was pleasant, and he is a nice guy. We mostly talked in English, so my dad couldn't really ruin anything. However, I made some small talk and said some things that indicated that we are not biological sisters if you do the math. She tried to hush me and talk over me a few times, but I didn't catch on to what her problem was. She later told me in private that she had told her boyfriend that we are twins and basically a happy family. I told her that this was a dumb lie and that this was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She begged me to play along and said that she would tell him soon, so I agreed. The topic of family just didn't come up anymore, so it wasn't hard. There's a lot of context I feel like we're missing. However, later, when her boyfriend and I were alone, he asked me if we were stepsisters. He had caught on from my prior comments, and I didn't want to lie to him, because I'm a bad liar. So I said yes and explained that she had lied because she's silly and thinks of us as this close. He nodded, and it stayed at that. Yesterday, I got a call from my crying sis accusing me of intentionally ruining her relationship. Apparently, he confronted her, and the whole thing spiraled into a huge fight. I tried to calm her down, but she screamed that I wanted to ruin her relationship, and I hung up. I was also bombarded with calls/texts from her and our parents. They always take her side, for breaking my promise and hating love and rich people and whatnot. And some emotional blackmail about how sisters stick together no matter what. I blocked all numbers and contact options for them to cool down for now, but it's getting to me. Why I might be the a-hole. I probably worded my previous suspicion too strongly. I also called her out on dreaming of that Cinderella story because she's lazy and she would sacrifice her independence for money. Yes, very bad. It was in the heat of an argument and unrelated to the French guy, but she mentioned it in a text. I gave a promise and broke it barely an hour later. Why I don't think I'm the a-hole. She lied! Too long didn't read. My sis lied about our family situation to her boyfriend and wanted me to lie too. He caught on, and I told the truth. They are currently fighting and might break up. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, honestly. Your sister is being childish and lying to her partners about the dumbest things possible and trying to rope her family into the lies as well. That is what ruined her relationship. Whether you let it slip or not, it would have come out and created the same result, him wondering what other things she has lied about. At the very root, technically breaking a promise is also a-hole behavior, but the context of this puts the responsibility on her. Everybody sucks here, literally every single person in this story. You for thinking just because you had a bad experience with a high society guy, that all high society guys are bad. Your sister for making what to me is a cute inside joke into a full-blown lie. Like, she could have just said we're close as twins. Still not perfectly true, but not a lie. Your sister's boyfriend for blowing up over it. I mean, you basically covered for her with, yeah, it's not true, but she thinks of us that way. I mean, to me, that's not really a big deal, but we don't know how their fight played out. Maybe she gave him an elaborate story about how you were born 7 minutes apart, and you always wanted to wear the same thing as her because you were a matching set or whatever. Your parents for blowing up at you over it. Like I said, I think your answer was perfectly fine. If he breaks up over her about then that's his problem. You're the a-hole. Gosh, you were both annoying! Honestly, it was a stupid lie, and because of how close in age you two are, who cares about the lie? It's so unimportant that it's kind of worrying how big of a deal it became. If you don't intend to keep a promise, then don't make it. Just say no and move on with your life. Through this entire post, you come off as bitter and unlikable. I could give an F less about what's the issue between you guys, but it's obvious you two just need to go to NC. You obviously want nothing to do with her, and even if she wants a sister, you're not the right person for the job. Hope this showed her that being a single kid is better than having a sibling. What is happening on this account? I don't know that I can really make a good determination here because I think there's a lot of issues with everyone in the story. So the sister just lying about the dumbest possible thing, you're gonna get caught up in that eventually. Lying about being twins with someone, I don't think is a good way to start a relationship with this guy. You know, if you're lying straight off the bat, you gotta ask yourself, why do I feel the need to present myself completely different to this person than reality? So it sounds like they have a bad family situation. I don't really know the story. It sounds like they also don't really like each other, especially the original poster. Just doesn't sound like she likes her at all. I don't know, it's a weird story. You didn't have to promise to cover for her, but sometimes we feel like pressured into doing things because people are like, oh please, please. Maybe she made that promise because she felt pressured. It also sounds like no one in this family really has a great relationship. They spoke in English, so the dad couldn't ruin things. She blocked everyone so that they'd have time to cool down. Her sister was freaking out at her over the phone, and she and the boyfriend got into a massive fight over this. Like, it just sounds like everyone has a bad relationship with each other in the story. I don't really know what determination to give this. I feel like it's up to the individual. I also feel like some of the people's comments went a little too hard. That last one was a little crazy. Having sisters can be difficult, and I'd imagine having stepsisters is no different. Some people are just hard to get along with, so I just feel like lying was kind of weird. Let's forget all the other details. Why did she feel a need to lie to this guy? Like, I understand the basis of wanting to appear like you have a happier family than you do, but if you continue dating this person, the truth is going to come out eventually, because they're stepsisters. They're not even half-sisters, so they're not even biologically related. He picked up on that. The original poster was mentioning things throughout the night, and then she was finally pulled aside and was like, "Don't tell him we're not actually twins." What's your determination? I think no matter what way you look at it, this situation is weird. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Because my throat is starting to kill me, let's read one last crazy one for the night. Am I the a-hole for walking out of the hospital after hearing my wife's diagnosis? I, 33, got a call from the ER on Friday saying that my wife, 32, drove herself there because of searing pelvic pain. I'm on a business trip until Saturday, but I drive back in time to be there Saturday morning before she woke up. A while after she wakes up, the doctor comes in. My wife says to stay with her, so I say okay. He takes a deep breath and says that from the ultrasound and CT scan results, she has ovarian cancer. My wife starts sobbing, but at first I stay still because I don't even know what to make of it. My wife asks what that means for her, and he says that she'll likely at least need a full hysterectomy. And they'll have to remove the fallopian tubes as well as the ovaries. The news jolted me from my chair, because the doctor was effectively telling me that she wouldn't be able to have kids after this, and after years of work, I thought we'd finally have a family. I'm overwhelmed with the emotions of anger. Not just anger at the disease, but pent-up anger from the fact that I had begged her to have kids since we were 26, but she refused for her career. And now instead of becoming a real family, I didn't even know if she would remain the woman I married. Whether the last picture of us together would be the last time I would remember her looking beautiful, young, and carefree. Because the wife as in front of me, was already a different person. What? My wife started to grab my hand and say, "We'll fight this and we'll adopt." But I shook my head and turned to walk out the door. Still had my suitcase in the car, so I drove to a hotel because I didn't know if my wife was going to end up being discharged or what. At the hotel, I was at least able to get out of reactive mode, but I was still so disappointed that our dream of a family was over. I was finally able to get a grasp on all my emotions and feel more like my normal self, in that I knew exactly what I felt about every aspect and how I would react to it from here on out. I got a call from my mother-in-law saying that if I was at a hotel or wherever else, I should just stay there. Am I the a-hole for walking out? I admit, it was done on impulse, but this diagnosis just sliced my life and my wife's life wide open. I wasn't going to expel the cancer if I stayed that night, but I did at least make myself aware of my situation. And I have a right to be angry that my hope of biological kids, the only kind I ever wanted, is rapidly fading away. He should not go back. Cancer patients have a better success rate and recovery if they are surrounded by positive influences around them. My mother had that operation, and it took years to heal internally. This high-stress situation revealed his true character, and I honestly see no coming back from this. What's there to excuse? Sorry that you ruined my hopes of a real child because you got cancer. I feel less attracted to you because your oven is being ripped out, and we can't get a bun in anymore? Not the positive influence Op's wife needs, and I doubt he has anything more to offer her than seeing her as a baby maker. I don't know how someone can type out, "Am I the a-hole for abandoning my wife at the worst moment in her life?" and not realize that the answer is yes. I'd say this is rage bait, but there's definitely guys who act like this. I think it's okay to grieve what you know you cannot have, but you don't get a pass to do whatever you want just because you're grieving a situation. His wife received a pretty awful diagnosis. And I know that ovarian cancer tends to be one of the more aggressive forms, so it's a bad type of cancer. Not to say that there's good kinds, but there's definitely more aggressive kinds. And she finds out that she's going to have to get a full hysterectomy, probably. We don't even know. Has been in awful pain, enough to go to the ER by herself. I think this guy could have sorted his emotions out while staying with her and supporting her. When a family member gets a diagnosis and you're like, and it's shocking, and it's you know, you grieve, and you're like, oh, what are we gonna do? You don't really know how to react in that moment. But leaving? There's no excuse for that. Being a blatant a-hole? No excuse for that. Like, I'm sorry, there's just not really a reason. The thing Anyways, we also don't know how things would have shook out if they had had kids earlier. And I found the bit about looking, the last picture of us together would be the last time I would remember her looking beautiful, young, and carefree. She went to grab his hand, and he shook his head and just left. So, ew. You suck. You are the a-hole. There is no defending this. I'm sorry, there's just not. Like, you can be mad, and you can have this whole list of things going on in your head, and you can shake your fist at the sky, and at God, and at her. But you abandoned her at the worst possible time, when she needed you most, because this is a serious diagnosis, and you left. So now you gotta deal with the consequences of, in a single action, destroying your marriage. I think it was a few videos ago, I was saying, what's that whole thing about vows? In sickness and in health? You know, like that whole thing? Because in sickness and in health, and not getting what you want, aka kids, and being able to start a family, you stick by them and you support them. No one could have predicted the future. Like, what do you think? She was looking into the future and was like, yes, I'm gonna have cancer at 32, so I'm not gonna have kids yet. Do you think she could predict the future? No one thinks they're gonna get cancer. No one in their right mind is like, yeah, I totally have cancer in my future. And let's say you did have a kid, and then she got cancer. There's so many pathways this could have taken that he's just not considering. It's just, my take is that you're a bad person, because in sickness and in health, you are supposed to be by their side. Even when they get sick with something that you don't like. So that was our final one for the night. I don't know how long this video is, but my throat really hurts, and I don't want to lose my voice by keep talking, so if you enjoyed this video and you're like, I want more, boy oh boy do I have good news for you. I will link down to my playlist of regular Reddit stories and AmItheA Hole specific stories if you want to hear some more crazy ones. We've been at this for over a year, so there's quite a collection by now. And if you want to follow any of the pages mentioned, I will link down to them below as well. There's a lot of stories I'm never going to be able to get to on Toxic Reddit because there's so many stories, so there's a lot you can read through yourself that I've never even touched upon. And the original posts will all be linked down below if I'm able to find them. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you all here next time. See you in June.